Okay, hey everybody. Gonna be doing Walro today from the TigerSharks. Gonna be pushing that out, so gonna be sharing that with the page real quick, so we can get that underway. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Um, let's see here. Gonna get this going so we can share it with everybody and all be friends. um, let's see. There we go. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna get right into this. Hey Rob, how you doing today, man? This guy right here is the leader of the Tiger Sharks and the inventor of the shark tank, or the fish tank as they call it. Um, that allows them to do the transformation for their characters to turn into the fish hybrids that they represent throughout the cartoon series. But anyway, yeah, as you can tell, this is Professor Walro, which turns into a walrus, and he has a big classic English style mustache, which just has always uh, been super cool to me. And this dude is just awesome. Because it's the weekend, I'm keeping this one super light because I've got a couple more action poses coming up. And in this series, because they only ran it one season, I believe it was like 16 or 18 episodes, but the first one ran like 3 or 4 parts. So they got a full 20 episodes out of it, even though it was only 16. They kind of cheated the system a little bit, but it is what it is. So, nonetheless, it was very crash course, instantaneous 80s style cartoon intro and setup. Um, T Ray, the villain, he was introduced in just like record time, right out of the gate. Um, then, sorry, I was adjusting my lamp there. And anyway, yeah, right out of the gate, he was going into this ice planet, or water planet, and had an ice chunk on it, and they decided to pick up life forms there and shoot them and free this villain that lived on the planet. And it was just a mess of a storyline in the beginning. But the concept of the tiger sharks is what always fascinated me. Not necessarily the series. I mean, it was short lived for a reason, because one, it was a filler off season cartoon type of deal, and it was a character driven mess. But as far as the series goes, what made it classic and made it great was because it was right along the lines of, what was hot at the time with the Thundercats and everything going on. And it got into better stories as it went along, but it was so kid safe and kid friendly. I rewatched it as I started doing these cards and setting up for the next couple of designs and stuff. And I tell you, it's not quite as up to par as I remember, but the characters are still phenomenal. If this series was to come back and be rewritten really well in a modern style and adapted for modern kids and explained off better. I'm apparently heavy-handed today because I've been drawing a lot. Um, I've been doing a lot of finished pencils today, so I'm kind of heavy-handed. But if they could do a series of this revamp or reboot with a deep storyline and actually make it work, I think it would be phenomenal. But the characters and the intro are what made this work, because the storyline was so rough when I rewatched it. And it had one of the characters, if you've never seen it before, it does pick up after the first miniseries of the first 3-part episode breakup. And then it goes into, a little more regularity where it picks up and it gets more interesting. But for the get-go, they have one of their characters, Lorca, which is their engineer. He gets caught off planet on this water world, and the TigerSharks go out in their ship that's run by AI named Zark. It's Zark. It's an artificial intelligence, and they go out to save him and end up stuck on that planet as well, trying to save the aliens that are there as part of the galactic force of whatever they're the underwater exploration force of Earth or something like that is what they call themselves. And they instantly find out that this character, sorry, it skipped my mind. Like I said, it's really awkward. Walro had built a tank that would convert them into a mutant form of themselves as the biological fish that was resonating in their DNA. And I say resonating because that's exactly what he says. It resonates from your mutation, resonates from your base DNA of the Darwin line of genetics. So I found that very, very odd. But it still makes for a great story if they develop it properly. But now that I've recapped it, it was just strange. But I love these characters nonetheless. So I'm still going to keep drawing them because they're a great set and it's a great concept to run with. But as far as that goes, though, I was like, when I rewatched it, it was kind of like watching the 2011 Thundercats. It's kind of like I'm lost with some of the storylines. But it is what it is. So if you're interested in it, it's awesome. But, take these characters for respect of what they are and what came after. But, yeah, I'm just not into... It's not a huge series for me as I remember when I was a kid. I mean, I guess I just was young and excited and my attention span fit the timeline of what they're trying to do because it was perfect for when I was, 10 or so. But, man, later on, it was just crazy looking stuff. It's bizarre. It really is bizarre the way they wrote that series. They made no physical contact. The way they beat the villains wasn't through a Thundercat style fight or a Silverhawk style combat, laser fire, swords, stuff like that. It was actually, let's swim through this cave and make this coral reef fall on their heads. Let's make this cave wall fall on their heads. Let's make this giant squid in space, this giant squid, go out and grapple them up and haul off with them and let them fight that. And it was never a physical confrontation. So it was really strange because they never touched each other, in a fight, a combat situation. It was strange. So I can see why a lot of modern, kids would be like, well, that's cheesy. And now that I think about it, once I've rewatched it, it is pretty campy. It is not up on the par of a lot of what I remember it to be in relationship and association to all these other great characters. But like I said, this comic and cartoon has a killer potential for anybody that ever gets a hold of the rights of it. However, I don't know that they will be able to because of the simple fact that, where'd you come from? Get out of here. They don't have the potential to make it work in cartoons of today. Apparently there was a little fly or something in here. My daughter came in a little earlier and decided to leave the door open to the office, cracked open and didn't shut it well. And we have a bunch of little flies and stuff because of all the rain. So if you guys are in any of the areas that are getting all the rain and stuff, you know that's going on. But anyway, it is what it is. No animals or insects were hurting you. Filming of this is blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. In reflection, I still think Thundercats works way better. And, there was a lot better cartoon and animation stuff out there. But I will give them their due diligence. They were right in that same vein. And I still like them. But it's a nostalgic memory at this point. Definitely. And the reason I checked it out in the first place was because a friend of mine told me to. He said, man, he said, you got to watch the series in comparison to what you're drawing is way better. And that's why everybody's vibing on them whenever you turn them out, is because of the fact that they're getting all this stuff out and showing up. I just found that really, really cool that everybody was involved with it, and I appreciate all the support. But yet, I couldn't figure out why everybody was so hyped and pumped up about the character versions of what I was doing. And it's the nostalgia of the characters being so good in a modern form and needing that lift. That's where the excitement comes from. And I was just like, well, okay. And he was spot on. He was spot on, because that cartoon was ridiculous. And I'm not one to promote things that are camp, but if you want some fun camp, watch it. If you want to watch a little kid's cartoon and have a good time with it, that's a cartoon that's definitely worth seeing once. But it's not as good as some of the classic stuff, Mask and Transformers and all that good stuff that we all know and love as the top 10 mainstream. But I still resonated to this comic and cartoon when it came out, because of the simple fact that I enjoy the underdog all the time. And this definitely was a second-rate cartoon. And I remember it because it was so unique at the time, where most people say it was so diverse that people didn't understand it. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more of a I think it's more of a diversity thing, to where it was before its time, and with the bad writing on top of that, I don't think it handled the way it was supposed to. I would have liked to have seen the cartoon go a different direction. And, if I can find out who has the rights for this, I would happily pay for the licensing to make it into a comic. I really would. I would love to do it and rewrite it and revamp it and turn it into something awesome. Not that the original wasn't, a good concept. It was just a horrible execution with the, obviously with the writing. And, like I said, they may not let me have it if they hear me say that, but I'm going to look into it and see if I can get this, because I would love to do a miniseries on this at the bare minimum. And, with IDW doing all the licensing for most of the stuff in the old animation, they may even have connections to do something with me on that. So, and I know some people over there, I may have to contact them and see about figuring out what's going on there. But I would love to get a hold of the licensing on this one and take a crack at it. But we'll see. For today, we're going to make a nice card and go from there. And then I will be finishing up this set just to finish it up. But yeah, the cartoon just did not stick with me like I remember. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's not a bad recommendation. It's just not a great one in regards to what was going on at the time. You know what I mean? There's a lot better selections out there. I've just added a bunch of stuff to the list for you guys, per request, actually. And I've been adding stuff all along, the way and whatnot. But I've been adding a couple of different things like Battletoads and Jace and the Wild Warriors from the 80s. Mask has been a request, which with the new comic book coming out regularly now from, I think it's either IDW or from DC maybe, that has that new one. I don't read it, so I don't know. They got the licensing for Mask and rebooted it, and I'm hoping it does well for them. But I'm not a big fan from what I saw. No offense to the guys doing it, because it looks great. It just doesn't look like it would be something that I would want to read. But I'm very picky though in regards to that. I just always have been. If you guys see that out there, pick it up. Give them some credit and pick it up and see if you like it or not, and let me know. And if it's a good read, go for it. And I might give it a shot. But as of right now, though, I'm just trying to find books that I can find interest in and that aren't my own and helping the outside industry. But I'm just so picky. Like I said, I read a lot of independents and things like that. and I'm adding new stuff as long as I get notification from you guys that that's what you want to see, because everybody's been just crazy about the Transformer stuff coming up and asking me to do Voltron Transformers, and one that I definitely added on myself a little while back and have picked up to the point now to where I'm going to start doing that one. I'm going to start laying it out this coming week and go ahead and get some of those mixed in, is the Centurions. I have all of that series on DVD, have had it for years. Love that cartoon series. It's just 1980s camp sci-fi all around. If you don't know what that is, that's three guys. There's a couple of others that come in later, you know, but there's a huge couple of sorted characters that are the primaries, and these guys are, let's see, there's Ace, Max, and Jake, and they have land, sea, and air covered, and they get the technology, that this armored technology that gets them these power suits, and call out this power command, power extreme, and end up, it comes down from a teleported space station called Skyvault, and connects to their suit, and they fight a guy named Doc Terra, and go from there. And Doc Terror is kind of weird. He's a cyborg, has a sidekick by the name of Hacker, which is basically a big grunt, and it's got the feel of it's got that feel of those cartoons. It's classic good versus evil, and it's definitely an attention getter. Something else I'm looking at adding on is Cops. And we're not talking Cops by the Fox TV show, which is now on Spike. I'm talking about Cops as in the animated series. That one was another one that people have been asking me for. There's a couple of others. The Street Sharks, people have asked me for those. I don't know if we'll get to them or not. It depends on how well you guys continue to follow the lives or not. I mean, if you guys want to see it, awesome. If not, that's fine too. I'm going to keep doing these no matter what until nobody shows up. But if you guys quit doing that, then I'll have to go on and do something else. But with my channel and stuff taking off and everything starting to resonate, I really dig you guys hanging out with me, and I appreciate it, because it is coming up to a level that we are getting a lot of attention, and it's getting a healthy vibe to it. It really is. I have a lot of fun doing these, and I love bringing you guys information on this stuff and answering your questions. Someone asked me about a Kickstarter question yesterday, from the conversation yesterday. They asked me today, and that's great to hear back. I love to hear about the topics you guys want to cover, and if you want to hear my 2 cents on it, then let me know, and I'll talk about that for the time that I'm doing the card. I have no problem there, and we will make that happen, and we'll have some fun and hang out, and you guys can interact with me on the live, and when you're watching it later on the videos, you can post comments and questions there too. But yeah, this dude is coming along really quick, very, very easy. I thought he was going to be a little more complex than this, but it looks really good. So I'm going to keep it nice and clean, because there's not much to him. Like I said, he's a big burly guy, and I don't want to muck it up too much with a bunch of stuff. So what I'm going to do is keep it very clean, very simple, and detail out these stripes here, because I want to break them up. These collar stripes that you're seeing me sketch into with some feathering right now, they're red stripes on a bright, I don't know, it's a bright orange color. That's the best way to describe it. It's not gold. It's a muted orange kind of thing. It's this really, really cool, bright orange. And the suit just contrasts really, really well. And then he's an off brown color, so it makes it just contrast really, really well. But however, he's the only seal type being that I've ever seen. Of course, I've never seen anything else to compare it to. But he has bright blue eyes, which he also has double pupils. If you notice this, he's got double pupils. You see that? They're big and blue, and they are double pupils. I don't know why. It's just the character had that, and one of them is inner, and it's super dark, and this one is kind of a watery blue on the outside. It's crystal. It's a crystal blue. It's very, very bright. So I don't know why they did that, but they did. So that's what we have. But anyway, just going to give him a couple more details here, but I'm trying to keep this from getting feathered up too much and marked up too much, because he has a very smooth skin, because, you know, it's turned to a seal type of thing. So he's got, like I said, a very smooth skin going on. And this orange, or whatever color you want to call it, whenever I color it, suit is it's a wetsuit type of situation. So it's got a slick look to it, except for the red seal, because this is a sealing seam, and it's a little thicker and it's raised, and that's the reason we've got the feathering going on. And then we've got this contrast of the major mass of the suit. So and this ripples and turns solid. It's not a mustache anymore, as much as it turning into his face. So that's why it contrasts down into a solid, but it still has the ripple effect from being a mustache. So we'll see how it goes. I really love the eyes on this guy. So I think we're going to call it with that one, because it's pretty quick. I like the look of it. And, you know, on this one, he didn't come out quite as animated looking as, you know, he's a little more refined than what I did with Mako, because Mako's got the whole thing where, you know, this was a smaller shot. It was further back because he's smaller on this card, because these things are tiny. You know, here's my hand. These things are tiny. And they're 3x5 cards. So, however, he's got a lot more definition and refinement, even though there's not as much action, definitely more life to the eyes and such. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing Dolph, which is another tiger shark, and I'm probably going to go ahead and do Octavia with him so that we can knock them out. Because like I said, this one, I love these characters, but this set just doesn't, it doesn't have the impact in it now, and I'm doing my version of what I think that the tiger shark should be now, rather than the nostalgic hold on what was traditionally there. I'm going to respect the characters for the design, but yeah, I mean, they never even got aggressive in the cartoon as I reviewed it for the card set, and it was disturbing to me, because I was just like, it shook me up a little bit, because I was like, really? It doesn't make sense, the storylines they had in comparison to these great characters, when they could have gone a tiger shark vein of a Thundercats or Transformers type of storyline, and made it a whole universal thing within itself, and taken it off from that perspective. But they didn't do it, and that's a fail on their end. That was a great disappointment. But anyway, with that said, we'll discuss more of it tomorrow. Hope you guys hang out with me and check this one out. Like I said, I hope you dig it for what it is. Check you tomorrow. Oh, I got asked to round up with these. I am coloring up some of the Thundercats cards right now, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick peek on some of these. These are done with variations of colored pencils. I did not use any Copics or anything like that on them. I wanted to get a nostalgic look of what my penciling style would be, my coloring pencil style would be on a comic book, and find out how well it would hold up. And this stuff looks pretty solid. I mean, I have to say, I am enjoying this a lot, and I just wanted to see what kind of look they would get with this pencil style. I'm using a lot of Prismacolor and a lot of Sargents and a lot of even a little bit of Crayola in there. Not much though, because they don't cover as well as the others do. And then I'm just blending the heck out of them so they're nice and smooth with a blending pencil, and they're refining really well. And matter of fact, Monkey Inn hasn't even been blended yet. That one was really cool, even though it hasn't been blended down. Slife hasn't been blended down either, but you can see where Vulture Man has, and he's just a little bit cleaner and a little bit smoother. But Snarf hasn't been ground down yet, and he's holding up just fine too. So I'm thinking that maybe to save on Copics and time and stuff like that, and digital coloring as well, that I may start doing a couple of comics like this, because these things are resonating really well with what my style is wanting to reflect naturally, and it accents really strongly. So we'll see where it goes. But anyway, tomorrow, Dolph at least, probably Octavia as well, so we can move these up. Lorca, Bronk, Angel, and Gup and T-Ray are left. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these left before we get to the Transformers. So I'm going to probably speed them up and knock them out a couple a day. That way we can get them done and still have them. I might go through the series. I might not. I would like to see my incarnations of the TigerSharks run around and see how they go for the rest of this. But anyway, stop rambling for there right now. Catch you guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Saturday night. Catch you tomorrow for the next one. Dolph coming up. Thanks for hanging out with me. Catch you later.